Hello everybody and welcome back. You know who it is, it's Creative Redundancy, also known as CR. Now, in this live stream slash replay, depending how you see it, and when you're seeing it, is about homelessness plus some chit chat. Now, I'm not an expert in survivalism or preparedness, just one who uses the knowledge gained to help create a better future today. Now, like I said, this stream is about homelessness. Of course, I'm no expert in it, but I've had or have friends and seen people that it has happened or had to deal with it, as anyone can lose their place for various reasons. Now, on the second part of the stream, whenever that occurs, it's going to be about how we, with a little bit more, might be able to help those with a little less than us. Because if you're able to light the way forward with support, it can go a long way, as a lot of little things can add up. Let me welcome Matthew into the bush and Wes into the room here. Welcome, guys. What's up? What's up? So let's cue in my intro here, like always. Boom! CR's in the house. Peace. I'll put this out too, just for the hell of it. Anyways. So homelessness. Now, I'm quoting a few things here, so just a basic Google search is what it says. And basically, homelessness is a circumstance when people or a person are without a permanent dwelling, such as a house, apartment, condo, duplex, or anything like that. Basically, they don't have a place to come home and sleep, rest, a permanent residence. You know, and these are people that are often unable to acquire and maintain regular, safe, secure, and adequate housing. Now, homelessness can be caused by lots of different things, and I'll probably add to that too. Poverty, unemployment, lack of affordable housing, poor physical or mental health, drug or alcohol abuse, gambling, family and relationship breakdown, and some sort of domestic type of violence. Okay. Sorry. I just had to make sure I was still in there. And not to mention some form of physical or sexual abuse of some sort. Now, I'm quoting something from, let's see here, from the Salvation Army, Australia's Southern Territory. So, I'll put a link in the description after, well, actually, I'll put it in while I'm talking here, to the site that I'm on. I'm reading about it. So, like I said, there's many factors that people can become homeless. And like I said, anyone can become homeless. Even if these things that I just said don't happen, it could be from something else, such as actually not being able to stay at this residence because it's no longer there. for whatever the reason is. So relating it to survivalism, I guess, tornadoes, fire, you can lose your home. Now, fortunately, and for most situations when that occurs, they have these people, whoever they are, the families and such, they have relatives and friends that they can ask for help or stay with, for example. But these are people that are homeless because of the things that I just said. They might not have that. I remember I have a friend who recently became homeless, and it was because of unemployment. Had to stay in a hospital for, I think it was like 6 months or something like that. Long story short, he recovered from it. He got out, but obviously he lost his job. Right? You don't show up at your job for 6 months, you're gonna get fired. And unfortunately, this person's on the streets now. I have talked to them every so often. I've offered stuff and things I'll probably get into on the second part of this stream. But, I mean, sometimes you look up to these people and even it happens to. So, anyone can become homeless. It might not be because of domestic violence or gambling or some drug or alcohol addiction or something like that. It could just be simply because you were in a hospital and you lost your job because of it, and your employer didn't care, and now you don't have that kind of rent money anymore. And then what? You sold your assets and all that stuff. Still not enough. I mean, and it becomes a spiral downwards where it's just like things are just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And sometimes it's hard to get out of, let's just say. Let me just come back onto the chat right here, which somehow went really faster. So let me welcome into the room here, Kentucky Survival. And I guess that's it. I'm just reading what everyone says. Oh, hey, thanks, Wes. Thanks. I'm hoping that it'll help, because I kind of wanted to deal with this subject, and I have known people, even friends, that it's happened to. So, let's see. I'm just going through the chat real quick. Alright. Actually, you know what? I know you got my back, Wes, so I'll change that out. You're a channel moderator now. So, but anyways, I don't want to get too off topic here. So let me continue here. But having a place to call home is not the only thing that these homeless families need. It's all about the stability. Alright? Being able to come home, being able to come back to a place where you feel safe, secure, be able to rest, store your food, your water, the things that you need. I mean, shelter is probably in survivalism is probably one of the higher priority things. Usually the first thing you gotta consider in survival. And then, usually then comes water and food. But without the shelter part, I mean, you're exposed, pretty much, right? If it's cold out, you don't feel it. You're exposed to it. So, let's see here. Let me just bring back up the chat real quick. Let me welcome into the room here, serving from my home. Hello. Thank you for taking the time to drop in. I appreciate it. Okay, I see. I see what it says. Okay. Let me just raid into the bush said. This is true. We all have to stick together because together we can do anything and help us help make things better. Very true there. Into the bush. So I'm gonna put a link into the description probably right now. Here of what I was just talking about, and you can read more about it. Now, just let me type this in here. Alright. It should be in the description now, as long as you refresh, and of course if you're watching a replay it'll be there now. So, I mean, homelessness, I also have another friend. Well, let me get back in, well, I have another friend. He's also homeless. And sometimes what happens is, you'll hear, oh, why can't you stay with your sister? Why can't you stay with your parents, for example? Because sometimes they don't want to deal with it. They don't want them staying there for whatever the reason is. So they can't rely on that. So they gotta, stay at a local homeless shelter and make ends meet. Probably carrying around a backpack with whatever, right? Hopefully it's got stuff inside. But I'm thinking about those homeless shelters, because this is what I've heard from people, is that depending on the homeless shelter, you might have a roof over your head, feel warm in the winter, but the security part might not be there just because everyone's in the same boat. They feel needy, for lack of a better word, and let's just say you're gonna want your back kind of there. Sometimes people want to, per se, take your stuff and probably, pawn it off or something like that to get money for something else, let's just say. But those are just stories I've heard from people that I know are currently going through it. I actually have another friend that went through it. Now, they got out of it, and they're living in an apartment now. They got furniture, a couch, and all that stuff now. I remember that. And they were at a homeless shelter for a good, let's say, I'm trying to remember. It happened in June, for a good 6 months. And, luckily enough, they got out of it. Well, I shouldn't say got out of it, but they got a place to call home again. And I helped them move in and all that stuff, just to help them along. Just so, Hey, I got your back, man. I'll support you, man. It must be a hard time. Like, I've never been homeless personally. CR's never been homeless personally. But I've seen through friends what can or would or could happen. And for that reason alone, I tend to kind of, let's say, push the boundaries and, try stuff out and get a taste of that. Just so if it ever happened to me, heaven forbid it would never happen to me, but if it did, at least I'll kind of know what to expect. I wouldn't be a noob at it, let's just say. So let me just bring out the chat back up as I'm behind the chat a little here. So let me welcome into the room here as I scroll back up where I was here. Let me welcome Kevin Life with Glenn and Maureen, who is your Glenn or Maureen here, or maybe it's both. So let me welcome them both into the live stream here. Hello. I'm just reading what you guys. All right, cool. Yeah. You guys just saying hi. All right. Now I'll probably only go for half an hour on this because, well, I didn't want it too long, and I still have to go through the second part. So. All right. Yes, I'm waking back. All right. I'm back to the bottom. All right. So. Yeah, I mean, no one wants to be homeless. Yeah, that's a given. We all want to be in a apartment building, a house, a cabin with a roof over our heads, walls to keep the wind out, a roof to protect us from the rain and all that stuff. No one wants to be out under a bridge using a mattress as a bed or underneath a bridge or a staircase. I mean, sometimes when I'm walking around in certain places, I'll see that. And I'm pretty sure anyone watching right now or anyone in the side chat can agree with that. When you're going or walking around, especially in an urban area, and in like per se downtown, as they say, right? Or in a more major area of town or whatever, you might see that traces of that where you're seeing people with shopping carts, for example, right? I remember this one time when I was biking, I saw these people with shopping carts. All right, you see their possessions in their hands, what little possessions that they have, clothes, maybe some water if it's a hotter day out, and maybe a couple cans of food or whatever. I remember when I saw that, I talked to them for a little bit because I had a little bit of time to just kind of just talk to them and get to know them for a little bit. They were saying, "Oh, we need someone to tie with or whatever," and I kind of offered some cordage to them. Now I didn't offer paracord per se, but I offered some braided plastic bags that I had. I had some spares in my backpack, so I'm like, oh, here you go. Here's some braided yarn to use. You can use that. That'll help. At least keep your possessions kind of together. So maybe it wasn't a lot, but sometimes knowing that someone is there to talk to, they'll listen, I'll offer a little bit of help, however little it is, it can go a long way. Anyways, now it's gonna be time for part 2 of this live stream here, which I'll probably go for another 15 minutes, give or take here. Now, like I said, the second part of this stream is about how we, with a little bit more, might be able to help with those with a little bit less. Pay it forward, as they say. So, in the side chat right here, what could you offer right now to a homeless person or family? Now, granted, there's probably things you don't want to give, just because legal issues, alright? You don't want to be handing, per se, tools over, let's just say, or cutting tools. Probably not. But let's say offering a coffee coupon. Those coffee coupons that you can get, or let me just bring one out here. Well, this one has one short, but right, you can offer this. And maybe you don't want to offer money, because unfortunately, sometimes you get kind of, how do I say, taken advantage of. Yeah, I'll use that word loosely, but where they're trying to gain, per se, money to, finance or fund that kind of, go, and, all that other stuff. Because sometimes with cash, yeah, you can offer it, but you don't know where it's going to. Sometimes it's better to offer real stuff, let's just say. Bottle of water, maybe a can of food, blankets, something to help with the shelter, water, and food. Like I said, coffee coupon. I remember this one time, Mac, it was a long time ago, actually. Actually, it was a long time ago because it's almost 10 years now. But at this one work job I had, as part of this Christmas thing, we were given basically a gift card for Tim Hortons, which is a coffee chain here in Canada. So, I bought some coffee, of course, right? I bought, a can of coffee and stuff like that. With some of the leftover funds, I randomly chose a person on the street and gave them coffee. Like, I'm like, hey. They're like, hey, you cold? Because it was winter time at that time. It was like this December, also because it was during Christmas, around Christmas time, and I was just like looking. I was just like, this one dude was like huddling and looked really cold, and I was just like, I'm like, hey, dude, you cold? You on the streets? He's like, yeah, unfortunately, I lost my job and all this stuff. I'm like, well, you know what? I can't do much to help you in the job department at that time, but I can offer you coffee right now. And he's like, yeah? I'm like, yeah, I can offer it right now to you. We're right by Timmy's right now. I can offer it to you. He's like, really? I'm like, he's like, do I gotta do anything for it? I'm like, no. This one's on the house for me. So I went inside, well, with him. And I got coffee when I was getting coffee at the same time. Even lined up with the guy. I was just like, yep. Handed him his coffee and I'm like, you know, I hope this can help you at least, maybe not tomorrow, but at least help you right now, today. And maybe uplift or motivate or uh, give you a little bit more, how do I say, motivation to do something. You know, and realize that it's not so bad. Well, not as bad as it, I guess. So let me just pull back up the chat here. Sorry how it's chatting a little bit. And by the way, I'm ending this stream in about 10-ish minutes. I'm trying to aim for the half an hour mark for this one. Let me see. Kevin, going to Maureen's, most people don't realize that they are 90 days away from being homeless. Just don't pay the mortgage or the rent and watch what happens. Yeah, exactly, right? You got no funds, you don't have that shelter, as they say, that heated home and stuff like that. I mean, it happens. It happens. And it can easily happen just because, and then you might be rich and all that stuff. Forest fire comes by, wipes your assets out. Yeah, you might have money in the bank or whatever, right? But it might not be enough, or you might not be able to get that home right away. Which means you're temporarily, maybe only for 30 days until your home gets built or whatever, but you're temporarily homeless. And, I mean, that can happen too. Yeah. Hopefully you didn't miss much, Wes. Let me just read here. From serving from my home. We had a homeless man freeze to death last winter in our area. He refused any kind of help or shelter. It was really sad. Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's unfortunate. To even want to offer the help, yet they don't want to accept the help. And sometimes that's why when I offer the help, I talk to them first. I talk first. Not like close friends, close, but or talk, but as a person, as a human being, right? Not just treating them like some being on the curb, but actually treating them like a person, and talking to them, and kind of sort of understand the situation a little bit more. Like I said, sometimes a little can do a lot, especially if a lot of little things are happening. Oh yeah, exactly. Kentucky survival, yeah, weather is such a factor. I mean, winter is coming up for most places, for most people. And of course, cold is subjective depending on what you're used to. But let's see. Yeah, blankets, toiletries, clean clothing. Nothing huckable. Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, I remember this, and I still randomly every so often do it because I have a friend who attends church, so sometimes when I'm scavenging during the winter time, I'll see gloves, right? I'll see random gloves sitting at like some bus stop or whatever on the side of the road or whatever. I'll go pick them, especially if they're relatively good still. If they're soaked, maybe not so much. But sometimes some person just drops their one glove or gloves. So I go pick it up. I'll go wash them in my next wash that I'm doing. Or soak them in water and, dish soap, sanitizer, baking soda, and all that stuff. Get them clean, let them dry out, and hand them over to my other friend who attends church, and they can bring it to a local church where hopefully it can get into the right hands. Like literally speaking, the gloves into the right hands. Especially, so it's a 2-for-1 thing for me. Now I'm helping remove this stuff that's in a useless state because it's just on the ground. No one's gonna pick it up. It's cold and wet. Dude, it's clean. It's dry, and hopefully you can find a matching pair for that glove. For me, that's a win-win. Let me just scroll down here real quick here. Alright. I feel like I'm missing something in there. Oh yeah, I am missing it in there. I should have put the slow-mo on. Or maybe I should go... Well, you know what? I know I said half an hour, but maybe I'll extend it to the 45-minute mark, since you guys are very, how do I say, responding well and leaving lots of comments, so maybe I'll go a little bit longer, just so I can get through it. Let's see here. When you live in the isolation of Canada wilderness like I do, you need TWO shelters in case of fire. You need a place to go, especially in winter. Or you are dying. Oh yeah. Imagine making shelter like that by scratch. And for long periods to stay in it for long periods of time. Okay. Potentially, if you want to remove that email after you're done, that'd be nice. That way that you don't get spam. Let me welcome into the room here, creatively video here. Hello. Welcome. Let's see here. I feel like I'm not. Yeah, I already know, Wes. I'm not messing stuff. I maybe I should have put the slow-mo on for this one, but it's alright. It's alright. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying this and have some feedback and some comments. I appreciate it. A couple extra points that I can put out there. I mean, a couple extra points that you guys can put out there I appreciate it. Let me welcome into the room Steve here. Thank you for dropping in. And it looks like I'm at the bottom of the... Well, now I'm at the bottom. Alright, so let me... And Hoister Fishing, let me welcome him in too. I appreciate it very much, so... So I'll probably go for another 5 minutes, and well, let's go for another 5 minutes, give or take. It'll be a 2-minute warning, so don't worry about it. So let me come back to the second part here, what I was talking about. These, just, it could be, like I said, as simple as a coffee coupon, which I can get for free anyways, but, or whatever. And I don't mind handing them out every so often. Especially, and I randomly do it. I don't, choose one. I just, hey, I feel like it, I'm gonna do it. And sometimes, not always, but most of the time, people do appreciate that. Because sometimes when you know that someone else has offered you something, you realize, hey, when you're down on your luck, homeless, shivering, only one jacket if you're lucky enough, and someone offers you free coffee to warm up, so you can actually kind of stay in that establishment, restaurant or whatever, for half an hour to warm up, because now you're a customer, right? Because you're paying or acquiring or getting something there, so you can actually, stay there for a little bit, providing you haven't done anything else or whatever. Sometimes that feels good. Maybe it's only half an hour in a day, but something like that might lift your spirits a little here. So, with that, let's all remember, you all can pay it forward. And even a little coffee coupon, that soon to be expired can of food that's dated, let's say, well, today's the 22nd, let's say it's dated for tomorrow, expires or best before for tomorrow, and you're like, no, I don't want to eat that can of beans tonight or whatever, but don't throw it away, go donate it, because someone will greatly appreciate it. That blanket that's like, oh, I hate it, it's not my style anymore, oh, it's too small, or yeah, it's too small, it was for the kids. Donate it to a local church or shelter. Remember, it's not always adults that are homeless. For the most part, it is, but it's not always the case. And even a small blanket that barely wraps around you as an adult, well, that could help someone smaller or younger than you. Alright, I gotta bring up the chat real quick here. Actually, I should have popped up the chat right here. Alright, let's stroll down here. Alright. As I finish off here. Yes, I gotta stay on top of the chat. Yes. I actually should have I should have popped out the chat because I could see it faster. It's because I'm also talking and not particularly reading everything that goes by. So every so often I come back into it. Yeah. Wes says you're lucky to have the missus with you. I gotta do this on my own. I don't got partner to make a dynamic duel here. Oh, hey, Wes S, you're quite welcome. I'm hoping that, to not inform, but to kind of share what's really going on. Because homelessness happens in pretty much everywhere. Pretty much. The amount might change, but it happens in every major city or town. Yeah, exactly, Cap. Glenn. Alright. Yeah, alright. Yeah, of course, Wes. Yeah, I'll email you that for sure. Cool. Alright. Now, 2-minute warning here for this live stream here. I'll be ending it in 2 minutes here. So, as a quick recap here, homelessness can happen to anyone. And it's not always about these kind of domestic violence, abuse, drug, alcohol type addictions, unemployment. It could also be because of natural causes. Fire, tornado, hurricane, tsunami, flooding, I guess an avalanche too, and stuff like that. And maybe, you know, you got insurance to cover it, money in the bank or whatever to cover it, but you might not get a home for, let's say, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Then what? If you're lucky enough, you might be able to stay with family or friends, but maybe you're new to the country, don't know many people. Then what? Right? So, yeah, it can happen to anyone. And I'm hoping that whoever watches this can offer some support to the homeless. As much as you can, as much as you're able to. Right? Maybe it's just that coffee coupon. Maybe it's that it's expiring the next day can of beans. But remember, a little help can go a long way, especially if it's more often. So remember that. If you can give help, try to. Or at least, or not try to, but try to offer it as much as you can. And not just during the winter time too. Yeah, you know, during this kind of Thanksgiving, Canadian, American Thanksgiving, Christmas time, yeah, obviously the giving time. But there is those other times of the year. January, February, March, September, October, and those summer months. Alright, let me say special thanks to everyone that dropped by this live stream. I appreciate the channel support and your kind of comments and chat on the side. I appreciate it very much. So, like always, as the world changes, so must oneself. To reach a new level of skill and knowledge, one must practice. A single person can't help everyone in this world. But one person, regardless of race, age, gender, nationality, your preference for, you know, can help someone in this world. And until the next video and live stream, it's peace out from, you know who, CR. And I will catch you on that next video. Peace! And thanks for dropping in this live stream. Take care.